But at the same time, I think somehow we as African Americans, as adults, need to take more ownership of what's happening with our children. I think they don't have enough direction early in life, in those formative years. And I don't know what the answer is. I think we need to just do whatever we can to keep talking. There are kids out there listening, and unfortunately the children that really are listening and benefiting don't necessarily get the attention because you know, there's this saying that good news hardly ever make the news, and I think to a large extent, a lot of it, you know, the kids who go away to college, the kids who are here at Tuskegee and the university trying to do the good things are not going to make the news. So I think we shouldn't beat ourselves up too badly when the kids who are doing bad things, it's blown out of proportion relative to the kids who are doing good things. We just have to keep focusing and doing the best we can. Otherwise, we get kind of downtrodden on this.
Okay, the final question, General, is this. There was a time when I was coming up that mentoring wasn't that complicated because an older black man could take you into a back room and so-called chew you out.
Right.
And when you came out on the other end, you were so glad to get up out of there until you was acting like you had some sense.
Right.
You guys got a difficult situation now because you can't take young blacks now into the back room and chew them out because you'll hear on the news what you said to them in the back room.
Right.
How do you guys go about trying to mentor now young black troopers who's coming through with these new concepts and ideas?
Yeah. Well, you're right. I think if I could go back, though, I would think that those elder persons in your community who could chew you out also had a real vested interest in you because they knew your mom. I mean, everyone kind of looked out for everyone's kids.
Absolutely.
Now we don't have quite that kind of sense of community because most of the communities we live in, many of us don't know our neighbors that well, much less their kids. So I think from the military perspective, what I do is what my brother, who is Army Colonel retired, who has always been my big brother, still my big brother today. He should have been a general, I mean, in my opinion, but it's probably subjective. In my perspective, he's my big brother. But he was always there for me. And the one thing he told me when I made colonel, he said, now, Harold, when you walk into a room, you have to make an opportunity and make a good attempt to go over and meet the African Americans in that room. Because they want to know you. They probably have never seen a black general before. And they don't know how you would react. But if you walk over to them, it's going to be all that's necessary. So what I try to do is I try to tell folks, you have to work hard, you have to be professional, you have to go when the commander has a social, you need to go, because so many of our kids are just one of many, and they don't feel comfortable in that environment. And if they are to get to know their peers, who they will have to work with, it's good to socialize with them too. So when the commander says, I'm going to have a get-together, or we're going to have a social, you need to participate in that way, while at the same time making sure you do all the things that you can control. All your professional education, excel in everything you do, be part of the team, okay? When the opportunity presents itself, try to lead the team. But when you're not leading, be a good team member. And if you do all those things, I think you'll be successful. But even if you don't make general officer, if you don't make colonel, it's all about doing the best you can. And what has served me well throughout my career is something that, again, goes back to what my dad said. And you notice I keep going back to my dad, but my mom and dad, shaped me to be the person I am. And my dad would always say, you put forth the best plan, you work as hard as you can to execute the plan, then you say your prayers,
amen,
and you go to bed. Because really that's all you can do. If you stay up and worry about it all night, you're probably not going to do very well. You're going to be fatigued the next day. And then he would always say, just remember, he always had a caveat. He said, remember, the best you can do is the best you can. He said, but only you know whether you have done the best. And I've always subscribed to that, and that's what I share with folks. It's don't beat yourself up because you're not number one. Beat yourself up when you're not number one and you didn't do the best you could, and you end up not being number one. Now you got a reason to give yourself a few whips.
Absolutely. How long have you been in there?
36 years.
And how long are you going to stay? You enjoying it, I can tell by the smile on your faces.
Yeah, it's been a good life for me. So much of my life and what I have accomplished has been because of the military. So I owe the military a lot. Fortunately, my wife loves the military too.
Oh, okay.
But I think I'm kind of seeing the sunset. It's probably close to maybe a year and a half, 2 at most.
Okay. Sir, I thank you so very much for this message to take back to my community, to let them see that not only the Tuskegee Airmen made it, but we still have young black men taking care of business.
Well, you know, nothing I do will ever compare to what the Tuskegee Airmen has done. And you know, I stand on their shoulders. And the least I can do for that legacy is to make them proud. So I try to do that every day.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.